militarization on the horizon for Vigilance squatter settlement, and more north benefiting from infrastructural development, and CDC continues to monitor low-lying areas during expected high tide. Welcome to InfoHub. It's Friday, October 25. We have lots to tell you. The government has committed to working with the Regional Democratic Council of Region 4 and the Buxton Fowlers Neighborhood Democratic Council to ascertain how and when a squatting community in Vigilance on the east coast of Demerara could be regularized.
A community meeting attended by Minister of Public Service, the Honorable Tabitha Sarabohali, and Director General of the Ministry of the Presidency, Joseph Harmon, heard the calls from residents in the community. The residents shared that their living conditions have been far from manageable due to the community not being regularized. In this regard, the Director General noted that an analysis of the area was needed to have the area regularized.
We'll have to definitely have a survey. I don't know, it might have been done already, but I think the people who are here, the regional chairman, the NDC officials, the overseer will be able to throw some more light on that. But what I want to say is that we have to regularize.
The Director General said while some amount of work has been carried out, a great deal of developmental works could not have been done due to the community not being regularized.
We'll have to look at all of these things and take carefully what you have said into consideration. There may be some short-term decisions which we can make, which will bring immediate relief, some medium-term ones, but ultimately it is in the longer term, we will have to look at how best these communities that are irregular can be regularized.
During the meeting, Minister of Public Service, the Honorable Tabitha Sarabohali, said that much more has to be done to ensure that the resources provided for in the national budget reach the community. Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
Several Maikoni farmers have joined the efforts to strengthen the sea defenses along the Danzig to Fairfield foreshore. The Ministry of Public Infrastructure initiated emergency works following a breach of the sea defense during the last spring tide.
One of these farmers, Neil Machado, lives along the access road that leads to the Danzig Foreshore. He owns 22.5 acres of rice lands and has recently lost 13 acres to the spring tide that ended on October 2.
It was very devastating what happened and stuff, but I like the progress of what's been happening. I was fortunate to Mr. Kevin Samad and infrastructure to also have employment with them as far as using my tractor to pump this water from this canal into the Bellany.
The canal that Machado referenced runs directly adjacent to the access road right up to the Bellamy Canal. A cofferdam has been built at the intersection where the Bellamy Canal meets the access road canal to prevent water from reaching into residential areas. As the Bellamy is being drained, the farmer has joined efforts to pump water off the land. Machado partnered with the Mahaika-Maikoni Abari Agricultural Development Authority to have water pumped from the Bellamy Canal that runs directly parallel to the foreshore where emergency works are taking place into the adjacent Atlantic Ocean. 78-year-old Cesnarain Mahadio, who owns nearly 70 acres of rice land, says he has been involved in rice cultivation since the age of 9. Cesnarain relayed to InfoHub that many of his neighbors' rice lands, inclusive of his, have been impoldered to reduce flooding in the residential areas. Advisories from the Ministry of Public Health, Ministry of Public Infrastructure, the Civil Defense Commission, and other ministries and agencies were sent out to alert citizens of the necessary precautions to be taken along the coastal belt in regions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. In the meantime, as government prepares for the unusually high tide expected during October 25 through October 30, BK International and ANS General Contractors, Inc. have been contracted to implement the emergency works along the Maikoni area. Shaquille Bourne for InfoHub.
Meanwhile, the Civil Defense Commission continues to monitor low-lying and coastal areas as high tide warnings remain in effect. Up to press time, the Commission received a report of minor overtopping in Lagrange on the west bank of Demerara and Danzig in Maikoni. The Commission is still trying to ascertain the extent of the overtopping. Residents are asked to follow the advisories and take all necessary precautions in the event of a possible flood. The residents of Enmore North on the east coast of Demerara are enjoying better roads, electricity supplies, and improved water pressure after making representation at a recent ministerial outreach in the community.
Today I'm happy about the road. I'm proud about how the road I've done, because I could tell you, at night I coming in here from church in a taxi and the car went into a hole. I get a jerk. I feel a jerk till up in my abdomen. The night at the time, I said, oh, my father God, thank you that I didn't take bed.
That was Delores Jacobs, a resident in the community for close to 40 years. She recalled that the main road was originally filled with potholes. However, the road had a major facelift, and today she enjoys smoother rides. As for Rene Gordon, he no longer has to worry about his appliances being damaged due to fluctuations in the power supply following the upgrade to the community's electrical system.
Since I did for 38 years, the electricity was a very low, 195. That used to be instead of 220. And we have a lot of, I personally, a lot of electrical appliances damaged for me. So we know with the past one, since the ministry come in and upgrade the electricity, that is the original 220, and it don't fluctuate. That's a real standard, and that is, I'm very happy about that.
Claude Smith is also living more comfortably as he now receives potable water when he turns on the tap in his home. This is unprecedented for Smith, who grew up in the community.
It's helping us good with our daily activities. I mean, the women, some had to go yard to yard and fetch water, go to people's yard and fetch water, and some of them get any water in the yard now, so it's making them easier. But even if they got to wash the waste of the clothes, they do it in their own yard now.
Enmore North is one of the scores of communities that have benefited from development after the various ministerial outreaches. Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
Still to come, Pesticides laboratory recommissioned and smooth sailing on the Perica-Supinam Ferry. Details after the break. Daddy! Thanks for staying with us. The Pesticides and Toxic Chemical Control Laboratory was recommissioned on Thursday. The fully equipped $320 million facility will serve as a backbone to the inspection and certification of activities required to meet international standards.
In his opening remarks, the Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Noel Holder, noted that a previous laboratory was constructed in 2008, but over the years the need arose for a more modernized facility.
It is noteworthy that being able to determine maximum residue limits has a trade-enhancing effect on exports of food commodities. For instance, before exporting rice, it must be tested for pesticide residue. However, this is currently done in Europe, and very soon we will be able to do this exercise ourselves.
Chairman of the Pesticides and Toxic Chemical Control Board, Dr. Leslie Monroe, stated that management placed emphasis on quality results emanating from the lab.
So over the years, we would have exposed staff to training either locally or overseas. We would have brought specialists here in Guyana.
Early in the week, the Pesticides and Toxic Chemical Control Laboratory was certified at the national level by the Guyana National Bureau of Standards with measures in place to be ISO certified and accredited by 2020. For InfoHub, Ayana George.
As Guyana begins to compile its second Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative report, local stakeholders have been taken step by step through the best practices of the initiative.
The compilation of Guyana's second Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative EITI report is of major significance. This is the time all agencies and companies are expected to be fully compliant with the global standard for the good governance of oil, gas and mineral resources. Guyana, being a part of the implementing countries, submitted its first report on April 25th this year. Earlier, during his feature address to stakeholders at the EITI Transparency Workshop, Minister of Natural Resources, the Honourable Raphael Trotman, recalled the journey of Guyana becoming EITI compliant.
Guyana has made monumental strides in the past 4 years in its journey to become EITI compliant, since being confirmed as an EITI implementing country in October 2017. The Government of Guyana and the Ministry of Natural Resources are both very proud of these achievements. Our government remains steadfast and committed to the ideals of transparency and the principles of EITI.
Following the submission of the EITI first report, the government held several outreaches across the country. According to Minister Trotman, this was done to ensure Guyanese understood the contents of the report, the impact of EITI and its benefits to the extractive sector and by extension the country.
It is monumental indeed that in 2+ years we have moved from that inaugural meeting at the Guyana to another workshop and our first report being submitted and the preparation of the second report on its way.
Friday's workshop is another step in the country's journey to compliance and transparency. It focused on two critical areas of beneficial ownership and mainstreaming, which are essential tenets or principles of EITI. Felicia Valenzuela, InfoHub.
Passengers plying the waterways between Parika and Supanam are now sailing in comfort. InfoHub Shaquille Bourne recently took a ride on the ferry and has more to share with us.
When you think about safe and reliable transport between Parika and Supanam, one main thing comes to mind, and that is the passenger cargo ferry. This is Sabanto. For passengers wishing to use the ferry service, the Sabanto departs Parika daily at 5 hours, Supanam at 12 hours, and 16 hours from Parika. These departures are dependent on tidal conditions. The fare structure is as follows: adult $380, child $190, cars and 15-seater buses $1,140, small canters $2,140, large canters $4,380, trucks $6,880 and $9,840. Cargo $1,880 per ton. Once a year, a medical mission from Canada comes to Guyana. One of the mission's executive members says the ferry plays a pivotal role in the execution of their work.
Very critical because of the loads that we bring, because we come with a lot of meds and a lot of equipment. We bring a lot of wheelchairs.
Nazia Prasad, who resides on the west coast of the Demerara, also shared her views on the ferry and the essential service it provides to the river travelers.
It's cheaper in a sense financially, and senior citizens, whenever my father come, he enjoy coming without paying that money, which is just $380 for the tickets, meaning for us, and with him he come free. Unlike with the speedboat, you have to pay $1,300, and if you unfortunate and the last boat is going, you end up paying $2,000.
Sheni Dudnot, a former teacher and housewife of 3 beautiful children, sees the ferry as therapeutic.
Normally, when I take my children to Georgetown, like in the August holidays, I would use the ferry because it's safer. That's the reason, and you relax.
Manning the Sabanto is Captain Navendra Singh. He has 12 years' experience on Guyana's waters. He explains the ins and outs of the vessel.
As you board the vessel, right, you come onto the vehicle deck. After the vehicle deck, you come upstairs, there's a passenger deck, where you have the passenger accommodation, the canteen you reach, and everything. And as you come upstairs, the navigation deck. It's a quick trip, 1 hour, 35 minutes trip from Parika Supanam and vice versa.
While the 11-membered crew ensures safety is maintained on the vessel, the Sabanto is fully fitted in the likelihood the unthinkable occurs.
As you can see, we equip the life rings in case a passenger fall overboard. We have life rings, we have life boats, we have life jackets. In case of outbreak of fire, we have fire extinguishers, we have the fire pump.
Shaquille Bourne, for InfoHub.
Before we close, here is some vital information from the Guyana Elections Commission.
GCOM's preliminary list of electors is now on its website, www.gcom.org.gy. Citizens are reminded to check the voters list to ensure their names are on it. GCOM's claims and objection exercise began on October 1st and will end on November 18, 2019. During this time, the following persons can check the registration office in their respective districts to verify their registration records for inclusion on the list of electors: Persons who are 18 years or older or will become 18 by December 31st, 2019. And Guyanese citizens by birth, descent, naturalization or registration, and a citizen of a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for no less than a year before December 31st, 2019. Also, persons whose names appear on the Central Registrar can make changes or corrections during this period. GCOM's claims and objection exercise is being conducted at all GCOM offices throughout the country.
Be reminded that Diwali will be observed on Sunday, October 27, and Monday, October 28 has been declared a public holiday. That's all for today. Connect with us on WhatsApp, Facebook, and YouTube. Much more news is on our website, dpi.gov.gy, and pop over to Instagram for the latest photo updates at DPI Guyana. Your bridge and weather reports are up next. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. And to our Hindu brothers and sisters, we say Shubh Diwali. Goodbye for now.